Globetrotter, Julian McClurkin. That was pretty neat. We interviewed locomotive engineer. Next week we're doing a bodybuilder. So that'd be so we're just trying to get anybody pretty much. Something that the kids would be interested in. Yeah. So if you know anybody else. I'll have some fun questions. What do you like to eat? Who's your favorite superhero? Just silly things. Let's just give them. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Walk in My Shoes. I'm your host, Daniel. Thank you for joining us today where we put on the shoes of a person and go in their footsteps and what they've been through the ups and downs, the great times. So please welcome Mr. Kevin Pierson. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Kevin. Thank you, sir, for taking time to be with us today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Daniel?
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing great. Beautiful day today.
Good.
The sky is
awesome.
Blue. It is.
We'll take it, especially in Ohio.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Wait 15 minutes and then it all change.
It'll change quick.
Yes, only in Ohio. That's right. So, Kevin, if you could just give us a rundown of what do you do? What's an overview of what do you do?
So I'm a police officer here up in the city of Akron. I work for the University of Akron, actually, on the college as a police officer right now. But been about 16 years total.
16 years.
Go ahead.
So you did 16 years in Akron? All those years in Akron?
Yeah. With two different departments.
Two different?
Yes.
Okay, so how does that work with the departments? What does that mean as far as?
So I actually started as a sheriff deputy in Summit County. Was my first career.
Okay. For
about 7.5 years, and then moved over to the university, and have been there 7.5 years now, in general, total. And then I had some special time.
Okay, so
yep.
When you say university, you're a police officer for the university? Is that what?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yep, their own police department. A lot of universities do.
Yeah.
And I love it.
You know what? I've never even thought about that. As far as wow, that's amazing. So is the office there at the university, or how does that?
Yes. So,
yes.
Yep. So we have our own office there with the university. We have our own dispatch who sends us to our calls for the whatever report. We have our own motorcycles, ATVs that we patrol on, so we get a little fun. Yep.
No horses? No
Can't
horses?
go wrong. Yeah, no horses. They wouldn't give us the horses. But you can ride a four-wheeler around all day and get paid. You can't beat that.
You can't beat that. That is so on. So, and that brings me to a question. So, like I see that there's police officers that are on a motorcycle. Is that by choice, or do you have to have a special training for that? How does that work, Kevin?
Yes. So for the guys that are in the motorcycle, they actually have to go through a special training. It's a 2-week class, and it's a rough class.
Is it?
I can't tell you what a motorcycle. I've never dreamed that a motorcycle can do half of those things.
Yeah. So I've seen a video where like they're driving, or I don't know if it's, and they're just like swerving
Yep.
and spin. That's amazing. That is.
Oh, it's amazing. And you're right. Something that I can't believe it. Here's a motorcycle weighs almost 800 pounds, and you can get to do things like that. Like, jeez.
You're right.
Hats off to those guys.
That's right.
That's a rough class.
Oh, I bet. I bet. So is it extended? Like, does everybody go through the same program except for the people on the motorcycle? They go another 2 weeks, or is it on top altogether? How does that work?
So I know for the motor guys, the basic academy together, we all have to do the same thing when it comes to that. But when you start doing special vehicles, certain vehicles, that's because they're like a supplemental, I guess, training, you have to go through to be able to certify in it. So once you carry that certificate, then you get to be able to, ride around or whatever they need you for.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, it is pretty neat. I love it. So let's go to the academy. Can you talk to us? What is it, and for how long, and how'd you feel?
So when I went through the academy, I actually went through the police academy back in 2004. So it's set by the state. The state of Ohio sets the standards for a police officer to be a police officer in Ohio. So you have to go through all their classes. There's a lot of academic class part of it. You have a lot of physical part of it. Most of it though, is a lot of hands-on between driver's training. You do firearms training, defense tactics, which is for self-defense. There's a lot of certifications that come with it. It took me about 6 months to get through the academy because I still had to go to work. It was pretty extensive. I would go to work at 7 in the morning. Yeah. And then I would leave straight from work at 5 o'clock to be at the academy at 6 o'clock. And the academy was 6 to 10 every night, and it was all day on Saturdays for 6 months straight. So I did a part-time academy because I still had to work and make money to pay bills and all that great stuff. But it was pretty extensive. I mean, I was pretty wore out after about 6 months.
So is there a test at the end? Is there like something you have to pass, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have in the academy, they always call it an SPO, which is a student, it's like your student projected objectives, student performance objective. That's what it is. I'm sorry. And they give you about 450 SPOs, they consider it for those. And when you go to take your actual state test, they will ask you on about 250 of those you have to know out of those 450. So so it's a big state test that you have to take at the end of that academy to be able to, once you pass, it's 70% or higher to be able to pass. And once you pass, they will send you a certificate stating that you are certified to work as a police officer in the state of Ohio.
So when they let you know, is it through mail, or do they call you and say, "Hey, Mr. Kevin, you did it"?
Yeah. So actually, our academy director, who was in charge of the academy, would call you once all the state tests came in. They gave you a call and told you if you passed or failed. To be able to move on, or you get 2 chances to take the test. So if you did fail, you've got one more chance to go again. Yes.
So then after those 2 questions or 2 tries, that's it.
You over again.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you definitely did. You really did a lot of studying at the end of that academy. They gave you about 3 weeks to prep for it. So I mean, you got time. But
So it's not just
Yeah.
last minute thing. Hey.
So it's not like, when the academy
Pop
ends,
quiz.
hey, tomorrow's your test.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So, right.
Oh
Right.
man. So Kevin, if you can go over just a typical day. Okay, so you're going to work. What is it that you prepare and do at work?
So my typical day at the university, I work afternoon shift. So I have to report to work at 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
I get there. First thing I do is get all my gear on, prepare for the day, get all my stuff, load up my cruiser for the day. And then we have what's roll call, where we meet with our supervisor for about usually the first 20 minutes of your shift. Supervisor will give you a rundown of what's going on for the day or what's happened throughout the day before we got there. If there's anything we need to pay attention to, a little more than normal. And then he'll give us their assignments of, where you're going to go or what you're going to do for the day. So with the university, I actually work for housing. I work just the dorms.
Oh, okay.
Is my primary function with the university. So we service 9 dorms, and it's about 2,500 students that live on campus. That yep. So I handle everything with housing.
Wow.
When it comes to them, when it comes to the students living in the halls. So they'll yell at me if I call
you
them
pick?
dorms. So.
Are you able to pick? I bet. Are you able to pick? Like where do you want to be in the university, or is it they're just saying, "Hey, Kevin, today"?
So we have some different divisions in the university. We actually have a high school that's on our campus now.
Okay.
We have an officer that works over there as a school resource officer. We have a detective bureau who handles all the any of the high profile cases that a patrolman can't spend all their time on. We hand it up to the detective. They take over from there. We have housing, which I work for, which they consider it. It's actually called CHOP, which is Community Housing Oriented Policing.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they call it a CHOP officer. But we're considered
because they're gonna chop you off or something. I don't know.
And then you're gonna chop you right up out of there. Okay. Yeah. So, and that's who I work for. And then that's pretty much the only divisions we really have with the university. Everyone else is just a patrol officer who will just handle calls throughout the campus.
Okay. All right.
Whatever may
when
need.
the university has like activities, like sports events, are you also a part of that, or you also help out if they need it, or?
Yes. So any sporting event that we have, usually primarily football, soccer, and basketball.
Okay.
There will be officers working those games during the whole time. It always depends, how big your crowd's going to be. That's how many officers they usually have. It's going to determine that number for us. But yes, there's always a police officer at one of these functions.
So is it by, because like you said, it depends how many people are there, how many officers you need. What is the minimum or the average, I should say, of how many officers are in a sporting event?
So just working a sporting event, your minimum, which could be like soccer, 2 officers will be there just working that game.
Oh, okay.
But you have your other officers that are out on campus still. So if you need more people, they'll come over and help you. Football would be where we have the most officers for football games because the stadium's so big.
Yes.
We can have anywhere from 8 up to 12 officers working. Sometimes we have to call in help from other agencies to get officers to help us with because we don't have enough officers for the day to be able to handle patrol and the sporting event. So we'll actually call other agencies in for mutual aid. Yep.
Well, I don't know. I'm guessing that maybe the dorms are not as busy since maybe everybody's at the game, I'm guessing. Or I don't know. Or
it could be hit or miss. It's hit or miss. I can tell you. There's no real art to it, I guess. Sometimes you'll be just call to call. Then there's other days you might get one call on your shift. It just all varies with everything.
Man.
I can tell you that there's days where next thing I know, it's the end of my shift. I'm like, oh, geez, where'd that go?
Okay.
And there, and there's some days where it's just you're going around and you might get one call for that day, and that's it.
Wow.
So it just it's never the same day.
Well, that's good.
It's the best way to put it.
But it's not the same.
You never have
the
the same day
time.
twice. Correct. You'll never have the same day twice.
So on these sporting events, is there like famous people you've met, or I don't know, come and go, or?
So yes, at basketball, I can tell you I've met LeBron James many times. He comes to our campus.
Oh, does he?
Yep, he'll come to the university. He was born in Akron.
Yeah, that's
from
right.
Akron.
Yes.
Like I said, we've got a foundation from from the LeBron James Foundation, but he will come to a basketball game usually once a year.
Really?
And hang out and sit in the crowd and watch the game.
So he sits in the
like
audience.
A normal person.
He's there in the audience as well. Or
we usually have him sit down up front because everyone wants to bug him.
Oh, I bet.
Oh yeah. So he'll usually we'll have him sit on the floor seats.
So is there extra security?
And just hang out. But
do you bring extra security, or does he have his own as well?
So we'll usually he has his own, but usually they just give us a heads up that they're coming, and then that way we can assign a few more officers to hang out with them. Just I try and explain, I guess, to everyone. He's just trying to be a normal person for the day and watch a game like anyone else, and
but it's so hard. It's so
not
hard.
Have to do. Yeah,
he's right here. He's
everyone's trying to get his picture. Yeah. Everyone's trying to get his picture, trying to get his autograph, and So I've met him multiple times. I have actually met Bernie Kosar from the Browns.
Oh wow!
During football. If anyone remembers him, that's taken aback. He has shown up. Yeah, he has come to football games a couple times a year. I've seen him running around.
Oh, that's awesome.
We get a lot of come through campus. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's one of the perks, I guess, huh?
Primary two I've seen. Yeah, you get those little perks
every now and then. It's like, hey.
So absolutely.
So, I know you're an officer, but is there like, when you are watching LeBron, like nobody's around, hey man, can you just sign this paper? This, or no, or is he like, hey?
So yeah, he'll usually ignore him, which he's just trying to watch a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So since they can't get his attention, they'll try and get our attention to get his attention. If that makes sense. I'm like, man. Like, hey, can you get his autograph for me? No, I can't. I can't even get it. So.
And I'm watching him, and I'm protecting him, and I can't get it.
Yeah. So the whole time, we have to watch the crowd while he gets to watch the game.
Yeah, that's right. That is absolutely true. So if there's a last game winning shot, you didn't see it. You're over here making sure.
You didn't get to see it because you're back to the game watching everyone else.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's part of the job. You're just watching everyone else.
Yeah, making sure. Man, that's awesome.
You put your back usually to them.
Man, that's awesome.
Yep.
Well, guys, I want to let you guys know you guys are watching A Walk in My Shoes with Mr. Kevin Pierce, a police officer. This show has been brought to you by AMP. Achieve more and prosper. Thank you so much for joining on today. Mr. Kevin, can you give us one of the weirdest stories or funny stories that you ever encountered, maybe there at the university?
I'll give you a funny one.
Okay. All right.
So here's a good one. One night I was actually just sitting over in one of the parking lots in the cruiser. And I had a gentleman, I should say, walk up to me who was probably under the influence of alcohol, probably too many. And he seemed to think that the police car was his Uber car. He asked if I was his Uber driver. So after laughing, and trying to put that straight face on of,
Yes.
no, I'm not your Uber driver, but I said this car will take you to the place you probably don't want to go.
Yes.
But that was probably one of the funniest things I've seen.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the kid was 100% convinced that I was
You were
there to take him home. I'm like, well, which I got to give him credit that he was calling Uber, but
yes.
I said, no,
Yes.
I'm sorry, buddy. That was probably up there with one of my funniest stories. I
That's
topped
funny.
all of them, I would say.
Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah, maybe
It was a great laugh.
Well, I'm glad you took it as a laugh. You know, no, I'm not you. Leave me alone. Like,
yeah. Sorry, bud.
Oh,
you have to laugh.
yeah, of course.
I mean,
you have to.
How do you not?
And Kevin, during this whole COVID-19 pandemic, how does that affect your job? Or did it affect?
So,
yes, go ahead. Sorry.
It did, I would say. So the university actually closed back in probably mid-March. Now, when it came to our job, we still had to be there 24/7 with the university. Like I said, the university closed. They sent everyone home. They sent the halls. Anyone who lived in the halls had to go home. They sent home the faculty and staff.
Wow.
Went home. So here, I guess, best way to put campus is like a 5-mile square radius is about what we have. So for about, I would say, a good 3.5 to 4 months, it was just literally the police working and maybe a couple maintenance guys.
Wow.
It was almost kind of eerie. University, the buildings, everything was closed, locked up. So here you have these big buildings, and you're used to, running around during the day, and it's nothing. It was almost like an abandoned city.
Oh, wow.
For 5 months with the students. The students have just now started moving back in because school starts Monday. But like I said, during all that, it was just weird. Unfortunately, the university, I think about any university, took a financial hit.
Yeah.
There was talk of possible layoffs. Some of us almost got laid off, but in the end, we made it through.
Yes.
Yeah, we made it through, and we're still kicking, I guess. Best way to put it. We're still going.
Exactly.
But it was pretty slow there for about 5 months of just nothing. Because all we were doing is just checking buildings, make sure that's it.
Yeah. Like, hello, anybody here?
But hey, yeah. Man, walking through a big building by yourself sometimes in the middle of the night, you're just kind of, I think you get yourself worked up.
Yeah, you
scared
do.
For a minute, like, what was that?
I know.
Yeah. What was that noise? You're like,
yeah,
all right,
that's
I'm out
it.
here.
This place is good. It's good. Oh, man, that's...
Yeah, we have a couple ordered buildings that I promise you, I think they're
Oh, man, yeah, you want to stay away from that.
But
oh, man.
Yeah.
So,
but
wow,
no,
that's interesting.
But the university's coming around.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And then
yeah,
just now the whole change, because it's amazing how, like, I'll be watching like TV and there's people around, like I'll see sporting events and there's a lot of people, or they're showing the malls and there's just a lot of, and just like that, it all changed because of the COVID-19. And now, I'll shake your hand. Hey, nice to meet you. If somebody I know, I'll give them a hug. Hey, now it's like, hey,
I'm like you. I like shaking hands and giving hugs, but now some people look at you like,
I know,
whoa,
like, whoa. And now I'm like, man, man, it's just how amazing, just how everything just like that changed.
It is.
Will we?
Yep. And now, like you said, all the students have to wear masks now, some kind of covering when they're out of their rooms or on campus or in a classroom. It's amazing how things have just changed that fast, to be able to try and control pandemic we're in.
Exactly.
But
And do you have to enforce the
yeah.
mask? Like, how does that work?
So when it comes to the mask
Uh-huh.
law, or I should say, they're not laws. They're just
Yes.
orders from the
Yes.
governor, which more falls under your health department.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always been a big thing on that. Is it our job? There's a lot going on with that. People
Yeah.
tell
There is.
you look, is it my job to enforce it? My job is to uphold the law.
Yes.
The mask isn't. It's not a law. So there's kind of that gray area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of how do you enforce that when it's to me it's not a law.
Mm-hmm.
It's not actually written in the Ohio Revised Code. This is just an order given out by the health department.
Okay.
Sure, would we walk by and ask someone, "Hey, do you mind putting a mask on?"
Yes.
Absolutely. Just for everyone else's well-being.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. We can do that and be like, "Hey, would you, just help us out here?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With everyone. I know some people like to wear them. Some people don't like to wear them, and hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Yes,
I'll never,
Some people
be mad at you for that.
Yeah.
But
It's like,
yeah,
wow. Yeah, it's amazing how.
but I just think it's kind of that
really
gray
is.
area when it comes to, is it the police's job to enforce that?
And the funny thing is that they all look towards you. They're gonna, well, Kevin,
Yeah. Like, hey, I know the university has they put down a policy for the students.
Okay, good.
They have like
Good.
a student conduct
Good.
they have to follow by
Good.
that they sign every year, and that
Okay,
is
good.
in there this year. That they're required to
good.
wear
So
the
that helps
masks.
you out. That really helps you out.
So I mean, they've covered.
Situation. Yeah, definitely.
It helps us out huge. So
Because
correct, because the university has their own
Yes.
student conduct kind of thing that they do with the students that the university can
Yeah.
penalize them.
Oh, that's good.
So it helps us out. a lot.
Wow. Well, good things. The good thing is things are picking back up. You said back in the university, and little by little, you're
Yep.
starting to see more people.
Yeah, it's great actually seeing people be able to communicate again. It's like, hey, people.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny. Like, I was like, man, I'm tired of people. I'm tired. Now that you don't see anybody, you're like, man, please come back. Like, come on,
Yeah, I was so excited to
Yeah.
see them start moving back in. I'm like, hey,
Hey, can I help you?
Hey,
Hey, it's me.
it's nice to
Yes,
actually see faces again.
exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome, Kevin. So, Kevin, we're going to go back and tell us your history. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school and high school? And
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Greene, Ohio, which is up here just south of Akron. I grew up there. I went to Ohio State University for a year into a completely different field I went into. I actually went into turf grass science at first, which was to be a golf course superintendent.
really?
That was my goal. Yeah, big difference.
Yeah,
right there,
that's
huge. So when I actually went there for a year, and it was by the end of my first year in college is when I decided that I wanted to go into law enforcement. So that's where I got that big change, and I ended up transferring to the University of Akron for criminal justice from Ohio State. But it was a big change. So
what
from
made
what
you,
I did,
Kevin? What
yeah,
made you?
everyone's like, "Well, how did you do that?"
After that 1 year, what made you go into law enforcement? Was there somebody?
So actually, I had encounter. It was a good encounter.
Oh,
with the
okay,
police.
good.
We weren't doing anything. They happened to so they had their own police department at Ohio State, and a lot of them were coming through, and just talking to them, telling us, about their career and what they do at the university, and, how they said that, you never have that same day
Uh-huh.
twice. You get to talk to people all the time, which I love talking to everyone. Um, so I was like, man, it really made me think. So I'm like, well, this is something I want to look into. So I actually started doing ride-alongs with the city of Akron. Um, One of my buddies worked there.
Uh-huh.
So once I started doing those ride-alongs and seeing what the police officers did for, this is what they do on a daily basis, I'm like, that's it. That's what really made me transfer over, change that career, to go into law enforcement. Um, I really liked how, they're
Uh-huh.
helping people. I'm like, that's great. You get to interact with all these people. Um, sure, there's,
Oh
ups and
yeah.
downs to
Yes,
every
exactly.
job, but I'm like, that's awesome. So sure enough, once I turned 21, I applied for the police academy and was accepted.
So is there, like, when you
So,
signed up, is
yep.
there, I guess, a checklist or something you have to qualify into going into, or you just?
Yeah. So there is an age limit, because you have to be
Okay.
21 years old to be able to go through most of these academies because of the law with, mostly because
Uh.
a handgun, to
Yes.
be able to carry a handgun, you have to be 21. So they also do a very extensive
Mm-hmm.
background, to be able to be accepted into the academy. And I mean, they dig way through your background, anywhere from your financial to you name. I swear, they even came out and visited neighbors that live next door on
Wow.
the street, um, and talked to them. Yes, it was a very extensive background. We also had to go through a polygraph
Wow.
test, which a lot of people, best way to put
Yes.
it, lie detector test. They hook you up to all these little wires
Oh
and ask you a bunch
man.
of questions, and you have to go through that. Yep. You have to go through a psychological test. A lot of those psychological tests, I remember it was like almost 900 questions on that test. Um,
900.
yeah. Um, it, it very extensive. They
Wow.
dig deep.
Wow. And then I'm guessing you have to pass that
Yep.
900 question test, and I guess your
Correct.
results, right? Say yes, he is qualified, or she.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. So once you did that test, you had to actually sit down with the doctor afterwards, and they go over the test with you. And they don't even tell you if you passed or not, because they send it over to the police department, and they'll be the ones that tell you if you passed or not.
Wow.
So you actually leave that interview with that doctor at the end, just like in the unknown.
That's the
Like,
worst. That's the
you know,
worst.
did I?
To the
Did I?
unknown.
Yeah. They just left you. They just left you in the unknown. I'm like, ooh,
Oh
man.
wow.
So,
The suspense and just oh man.
yeah, but it was I can tell you it was a lot of waiting, a lot of testing, a lot of background that they go through to be able to be accepted into
Yeah.
that academy
So,
that I went through. But once you get that
oh, I
acceptance,
bet.
you're
I
happy.
bet. So when you applied, did you know you had to take all these tests in advance, or was it just right when you were there? Okay.
Yes. Um, so when I filled out my packet for the academy, which I'll tell you is about that big of a book that you're filling out, um, it said in there that a lot of, you're going to be subject, because basically you have to sign a consent that you're going to be subjected to a
Yes.
lie detector test, and also you're going to be subjected to a polygraph test, and you're going to let them dig through your
Wow.
background. So,
Yeah, man.
yep,
When I go to
it
the
was a
doctor
lot.
and I have 2 pages, oh man, come on, you you have a whole
Right?
book.
This was a book. You were
Oh
filling out a book.
man, that's unbelievable. Wow. Well, you knew what you were getting into. So,
Nope.
and during your
Right.
career, your 16 years there, has there ever been a roadblock Has there ever been a time where you're like, you know what, maybe this is not me, maybe I'm done? And what or who helped you get out of that?
So I kind of did hit a little roadblock actually just recently with kind of everything going on out there. It kind of made me sit back and think for a minute. Do I still want to do this? Or, I mean, it just kind of, I kind of hit a funk, I guess you'd say, on it for probably about a good month. I would say I hit. But I can tell you in the end, what really made me change my mind and want to stay in this career was the students that I work with. They have been so awesome and supportive of things.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Because a lot of them look up to you.
Oh yeah.
Because you're in that figure. I enjoy working with those students 110%, and that's what probably made me sit back and think that, man, nah, I can't give this up. I'll miss them too much. They're great to work with. And you could be in a bad mood that day. You can go visit the students who know you. That'll change within the first 20 minutes of that conversation. You'll leave there like, this is why I do this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right here.
So you build that bond. It's like, that friendship and just maybe some with family, hey, you know the routine,
absolutely.
They know yours and what you like and what you don't like. Yeah, that is awesome.
It's true. And I mean, geez. I mean, the students have been so awesome. I got Christmas gifts last year out of nowhere from them. They're like, hey, we got you this.
Really?
They're awesome.
Oh, man, that would mean so much. You're just doing your job, and they're, hey, thank you.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying. Hey, I'm just doing my job, and they've been awesome. I mean, they heard rumors, that possibly could have been getting laid off from my job. I can't tell you how many students reached out to me or they actually sent emails to the university supporting on why you shouldn't do this.
Wow, that's awesome.
You can't get rid of him, and it was amazing. That's what really made me like, I can't give this up. There's no way. No way.
That's so awesome. That is awesome. So is it on your office, is there like you said people give you gifts, is there ever time where people or maybe just the family come into the office and give you guys like food, or is that allowed? Is that something that
it is? We've had students bring in anywhere from, like you said, food to desserts to, some will just send cards over thanking everyone, thank you to all the officers for what we do, and you'll get that reward. So I don't actually get like an office. My office is actually my cruiser. It's like my portable.
Step in my cruiser real quick.
That's our office. But they'll send stuff over to the department all the time. We've had I don't know if you ever had Old Carolina barbecue.
Is it?
It's amazing? Oh, it's great stuff. Someone sent over catered for us one day. It was awesome. But,
that's awesome. Man, you know what? That makes me want to, I think there's one actually nearby the office here, and you said we're allowed. We don't need to make an appointment or anything. Okay.
Nope.
All right. Yeah. Because that's awesome. Because, I have my little one and I talked to Claire, and Claire's like, there's a police officer, and, just she's asking, what do they do? And I was like, well, they're here to protect us. They are. And so it's amazing how she is when, there's a police officer. Let's talk to him. We can't right now.
Absolutely.
We're driving right now. We can't just pull him over.
That'd be a good one, though. Hey, Like, hey, we just want to stop you.
Yeah, we just
want
want to talk.
to you.
Let's just talk. Oh man.
Yeah.
So your cruiser. Let's talk about your cruiser. Is it yours during the whole time you're there?
Yeah.
So.
So we have to share our cars with all the other shifts. But yeah, what are you gonna do, right? But during that, I drive the same car every day. I have a Ford Explorer, is what it is, basically. That's turned into a police car. Yeah, it's got a computer in it, so we can do reports and all that on it.
So how is that
It's got
maintenance?
just about it.
How does that work? Like, does it say? Bing?
So maintenance on the cars. Oh, if
Yeah.
the car goes down. So if a car goes down and it has to be sent to the shop, you just have to kind of take whatever car's left over for the day. So it's not too bad. But we'll send them just to a regular car dealership like you would anyone else, up to the Ford dealer or the Dodge dealer, because we also have those. Yeah. So it's always a bummer when they break. So you get out of the norm. It's like, that's not my normal car today, even though they're all pretty much the same. But you're just like, now I'm out of the norm here.
So,
just threw
do
a
you have
wrench
to do
in my
an
day.
inspection
No.
before you drive it, or is there like a checklist, or do they give you rules?
Yeah, you always want to go over it before you, just to make sure there's no damage on it, that that way you don't get blamed. You're checking for damage. You want to make sure all your lights work, all your police lights and your sirens are working. Yeah. Make sure basically all your equipment's working on that vehicle before you get in it and take off for the day.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Well, so I see sometimes. Well, I see it on movies. Also YouTube, that they use the car to stop the other car. Do you have to ask for permission before you do that? Do you know, what I'm talking about? Like,
oh, you like when
spin
they
them
spin
out, or kind of,
like you tap the back bumper and spin a car? Or
something
block
like
them
that.
in?
Yeah.
So a lot of departments, everyone's different. It just depends on what your is, I guess, in a way. We don't do pit maneuvers. We're not permitted to do those. But that's what they're trying to do. Like I said, we just, when you do something like that, you got to be careful of. If you were to, heaven forbid, just now what? But like I said, we don't do them. We're not permitted to do them.
Okay.
So in that part at all. But to block in a vehicle, if you can get a vehicle, if you block them in because you've got them stopped, that's just the way, so that way they can't get anywhere.
Yes.
So if you put a car, is that what you mean?
Yeah. So I was just asking, like, if you had to ask permission,
kind of
like, hey, am I allowed? Because it's your cruiser, so I don't know if you have to ask permission to, if that was if you were allowed. Does that make sense? Like, hey, can I?
Yeah. No, with certain things, like if you were just gonna block in a car, you wouldn't need permission, as long as you're not moving. I should say. Now, if you're moving and you're trying to block that car in, that's going to be different. You'd have to get permission.
Okay. And you said different departments, so.
But if you're just blocking in the car, that's already stopped.
Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there different types of police officers? Or is it just like departments, or is it just all?
So everyone, depending what department you work for, so it could be you work for, Columbus Police, and then the sheriff's office is Franklin County. Everyone has a different policy when it comes to certain things. When it comes to, like you said, pursuits is what they would consider that would fall under. Everyone's going to be different. I know, like with the state patrols, theirs is way different than what ours is. When it comes to that, and it just depends on what they have written into their policies. is what that officer has to
Now,
follow
are you
by.
guys able to communicate like with the state troops? Are you guys like, hey, or do they communicate with you? Or I don't know if that's.
Yes. So actually on our campus, we actually have
Oh.
a state patrol post who they're right at the top of our campus. We can communicate with them. We can also communicate on our radios with the city of Akron. So
Okay.
if we need assistance, it's just, because our university is kind of like Columbus's. It's
Yes.
right smack in the middle of a city, to the T, is the best way to put it. So they give us mutual aid, and we'll give them mutual aid if need be. We've also done a lot of training with the troopers for multiple things, and with the city, just as like a joint effort if something were ever happen, such as maybe active shooter or whatever. We've done a lot with that.
Okay.
So we work really close with those departments.
All right, that's awesome. And Kevin, what is your favorite part about the job?
I'd say hands down favorite part is just socializing with everyone. I love talking to people. It's probably one of my favorite things. I'll tell you, that is probably the most rewarding part. I love just communicating and seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
See, just like any normal conversation with anyone you would have, just, hey, what's up? What's going on today? Or, they'll tell you stories. You tell them stories.
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
great.
That'd be awesome.
It's rewarding.
To see. Just you see them all the time, and then when they're done with college, it's like, man, hey, have a good life. Let's keep in touch, maybe. Yeah.
And some of them have. I can tell you.
Oh,
like I said,
awesome.
some of them absolutely have. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. So, man, that's great.
I love it.
That's great.
Yep.
We're gonna give guys, if you guys have questions that you would like to ask Mr. Kevin, please put them in the comments, and I'll read them out to Mr. Kevin. Mr. Kevin, I do have some silly questions for you. This one has been brought to you by Cooking with Claudia, Fridays at 3.
Okay.
And this one is, what is your favorite food?
Favorite food?
Steak?
I'm gonna have to go with steak.
Where do you get the steak? Do you grill it or do you go somewhere?
You get it. Nah.
Okay.
A little bit of both. Let's say both. Grill it, absolutely. Also, there's a place down here in Canton that a restaurant that I swear is the best steak in the world. And as soon as someone ever says the name of it, I'm like,
I'll be
let's
back.
go. You got my full attention.
Yes.
You've got my full attention. Let's roll. But I would say there, and probably right behind that's going to be pizza.
So
can't go wrong.
How do you like your
pizza.
Steak? Medium, yeah.
Probably medium. Medium.
Okay.
Yeah, usually right
I like
there.
it medium. Like juicy. I just like it a little juicy, just like the flavors.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep.
I heard in New York, they say that when they give you the steak, they give it to you with a spoon, because it's just so tender that you could just. I'm like, that's not. And guys were like, yeah, that's true.
Oh.
In New York, you gotta go. They want to take me there. I'm like,
Really?
I forgot what the. Yeah, exactly.
Road trip.
Yeah, the university's gonna send you down to help out in New York. Yeah, we'll be back.
Hey, we'll be back.
We'll take the cruiser.
No problem. Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. We have another question. I can never stop smiling when. Yes.
Can never stop smiling when. I don't know. That's a good one. 'Cause that means you're always smiling.
Got you.
Yeah, I think got me on that one.
Yeah, I'll let you think about that one.
I guess the only time I stop. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'll come back to that one. Can never stop smiling when.
Your favorite superhero?
Superhero. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like Captain America.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's my
I'm gonna
fave.
have to show you. I'm gonna have to. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, man.
Nice.
Man, that is
is
amazing.
That is awesome.
Let me tell you,
That's
Kevin,
awesome
he's
that
my
you're wearing that.
he's
I'll
my
be like,
favorite superhero. It's so
bam.
funny because I talk about him a lot. I have a workout show that I do Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it's called On Your Left. You know how when you're about to pass someone, you're gonna say on your left. Captain kept saying on your left. So my workout is called On Your Left. You know, we're gonna pass obstacles.
On your left.
On your left, here I come. You know, and the guys here at work, they're like, man, I'm tired of Captain America. Man, not anymore.
No.
You can't.
You can't get tired.
Man, I
How do you
knew
get
there was
tired?
something special about you, Kevin. I
No
knew
way.
it. I knew
doesn't happen.
it. Okay, if you had one wish, what would you wish for?
Ooh, one wish. Ooh, that's a good.
The wish would be
So many things that could go with that. You know.
If you had one wish,
I don't know.
what would it be? It'd be
I
like
think like
having I don't know, money or.
How about you?
If I had one wish,
I mean, you can never go wrong with money, but
I don't know. So like, what about having the exact change? You know, like what about like just right in my pocket? I would have the exact change. How much is that? That's $314. I'm sticking my hand in my pocket, and here you go. Maybe.
Thanks.
You know, because I don't know. That's a good question. And Kevin, I'm asking the questions. I'm asking the question. You can't ask me the questions, Kevin. I'm asking you the question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I got to answer these. You're right,
because
you're right.
But no, I would say, I mean, you could never go wrong with money. I guess.
Or maybe
I
wish I could fly. But you know, that would be cool.
That'd be cool.
You know, it's just.
Maybe like some kind of like
maybe
Iron Man stuff.
Super strength or something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Or maybe like you'd be kind of cool. I take that. You know, one wish to be able to fix any.
That'd be really good.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, that'd help your. That.
I'll go with that. I'm gonna take that.
I'm gonna actually use that.
Take
that. Let me.
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, so here we go. At the end of the rainbow, Kevin, what is there?
Hopefully a pot of gold.
Hopefully a pot of gold. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Gold.
I could say, if I'm thinking what the or maybe at the end of the rainbow, maybe that could be at the end of my career where I want to be. You know.
I don't know. Maybe it's.
I don't know. I could take that question a couple
whole
ways,
colorful ways.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then last fun one. Here we go. Your dream vacation spot is where?
Oh. So honestly, it's going to be Bora Bora. I would love to go there.
Bora Bora.
But after looking up the prices, I'm like, whew.
I looked into it. What is it, like $500 to stay one night or something? Ridiculous. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's not even including getting there. Yeah, I think we looked it up once. And it was
but it's amazing though. Wow. Like you're right there. You're sleeping like pretty much on the beach, you know, and the water is amazing.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe one day, Kevin.
One day. That would probably be my number one.
If it's not you, someone's going to get you a trip. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Someone's just going to say, here you go, Kevin.
I'm in.
This is for you. Right. That would be. That'd be
great.
Man. Okay, so here we go. I gave from the audience. Here we go, Kevin. So how long is the process to become a police officer?
Okay. So I would say the process, depending, if you go to a full-time academy, you could probably make it through that academy. I think they run anywhere from 9 to 12 weeks. If you do a part-time academy, like I did, because I had to work, it took about just under 6 months to be able to meet the standards of what the state says. Because you have to actually go to that academy. It's somewhere near 300. I think they're up to about 285 hours total with everything. That you have to. Some academies do a little longer because they put in other things, but I'd say you're anywhere between that 12 weeks to 6 months, just depending if you go full-time or part-time.
And what's the biggest change in your job over the years? Is there technology or different, training?
Oh, yes. Technology has changed huge since I've started my career. Such as now there's, we have body cameras to computers to computers have been the biggest part of it, I can tell you. When I first started, we were writing out reports by hand. Now everything's all computer based. You just type in your report. It's amazing. Just there's so much technology out there that has been given to law enforcement that it's almost endless of the things that they've done. Training has gotten a lot more extensive. I'm actually an instructor with our department, so I actually train other officers in our department. But training has gotten a lot more. They've upped it a lot in the last few years, which is good.
Definitely.
I mean, the more training you have, the better helps you handle situations or whatever. It just prepares you. I always say you can never have enough training.
That's true, because we always have training. There's always it's like, here we go again.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep. And there's always going to be your boring training.
Yes.
But then there's always ones that are,
me too.
hands-on.
Because
I like
doing
hands-on.
training the computer, and sometimes it's early in the morning.
Yes. I'm more of the.
There's one time. Let me give you a story, Kevin. I'm doing training. Okay, and then I'm in this office where there's a bunch of computers, and right by the door there's the supervisor. So he's there, and I'm over here trying to just pay attention, and all of a sudden my head's like. I kept doing that, and I tried to, and then my supervisor was like, "Daniel, is your neck okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's good."
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh man, that was
Yeah. We've all been there.
Man, because
we've been through those trainings. Yeah.
Now, do you have recurrent training you have to do? Yeah.
Yes, we have annual training that has to be done every year, such as firearms, legal updates. We always have a lot of legal updates because laws are always changing or new ones are coming in, so you have to familiarize yourself with those. Ethics. There's a lot of ethics training we do, but those are usually your big ones, I would say, that are every year.
Here's one by the audience. What qualifies you to work with a canine dog? That's a good question. All right.
Canine dog. Okay. So that is actually a separate school, and don't quote me. I'm not sure how long they go for school. It just depends on what that dog is set up for. Our department actually does have a canine, and our canine is a bomb dog. It's for searching.
Yes.
Yep. Because of sporting events we have to be able to check the stadium prior to games. Then you have other dogs that do just drugs that have to be, there's other, then you have what they consider bite dogs that they do. There's so many different kinds. There's cadaver dogs, which are meant for finding, could be dead bodies. And then they also have dogs that are just for search and rescue dogs. But a lot of those are all state certs that they have to go through, schooling they go through, and they do annual updates every year too.
I thought the dogs.
So there's a lot of work with that.
So there's specific dogs for specific things. I thought, man, that dog can do this, this, and that,
Correct.
and catch, and play catch.
Yeah. Right. I think they always say if you try and do too many multitasks with that dog, it confuses them, actually. So that's why they stick to just either one or maybe two traits with that dog,
And then
usually.
Here we go. Last question. As a police officer, how often do you work with other departments such as the paramedics or the firefighters?
So we work with the paramedics and firefighters quite often. Anytime that we have to call, like especially paramedics, to maybe a student that's been injured or ill that's going on, because we do get a lot of injuries from the rec center from when they're playing basketball or get twisted ankles. You get all that. So we work very well with them because our campus is a closed campus. So one of us will actually go to where the student is at, and another officer will actually go and meet the ambulance somewhere to be able to take them up onto campus to get them to buildings. So we work very tight knit with the fire department, to the point of where every time they get out of that ambulance, they're like, "Hey, thanks for meeting us," because it is a maze, kind of a maze to drive through. So we work very well with them. We've actually done training with them on certain things too. So it's great because anytime they're called to the campus, there's always someone who will meet them to be able to get them where we need to get them.
Working together. We're better together. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right.
Well, Kevin, I want to thank you so much. This has been awesome. I've loved today's conversation, letting us walk in your shoes and just going through the campus, the university campus. And it's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Taking your time out of your busy schedule to be with us. Yes.
That's all right. I appreciate it too. It was great.
Yes. Awesome.
Had a good time.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with us and taking time to watch Mr. Kevin Pierson, police officer, and walk on our shoes. We'll see you Wednesday for another great time. Bye-bye.